I'm the guy who invented the thing that's gonna take us out of this place. If you could read my mind, you would know what kind of pajamas I want when it comes to bedtime. Footy, 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 footy pajamas. Footy, 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 footy pajamas. Footy, 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 footy pajamas. And let me be what I want to be.
Yes! Alright, America. Alright, so, Ian, how many votes did we get in from last episode?
We got 0 votes.
Whoa.
Zero votes.
Wait, no, let me, well, we got, whoops, shoot, we got 1,400 votes. Weird. What the,
1,400?
and they're all from me. Dunk, dude.
Nice.
I can't believe I won by such a landslide.
No, but...
Oh, you can't look at that. That's for a D&D.
No. So, why did we get 0 votes, Marcus?
We didn't get 0. We got 1,400 all from me.
1,400 votes. So here's the thing. We don't have any votes from anybody else besides ourselves.
Ian has a grown-up job and has to go out of town, so we're
Yeah.
recording 2 episodes in a day.
Yep. So I'm really sorry. None of Matt's majestic mind today. But I mean, I guess we could say what we think Matt would say.
Marcus won by a landslide.
No, I don't think
Suck
I'd
it,
say that.
Ian, you big nerd. Whoa, Matt. Weird. It doesn't sound like you at all.
So yeah. So that's it basically.
Not a Coke.
What? So this is Let Me Pitch This to You, episode 6. Marcus, what's this podcast about?
Oh, shoot. I have to describe the podcast this
Yep.
time? Wow, I usually throw that to you. So this is a podcast where I would say creative people, whether that's for the better or worse of the world's creatively produced and made things, get together and generally pitch story ideas, but it's not limited to that. But for the most part, it's just ideas we have for stories and in whatever medium we think it will work better in. And then we have you guys vote through email. Our email is letmepitchthistoyou@gmail.com. I for real almost read the password, which Ian wrote out on the piece of paper. I almost read that too. It's not important for you guys. You vote on there, and that is the only way that we are accepting votes from now on, just to make sure that we can keep it consistent. However, you can write us anything in that if you have questions, you want to talk to us and bring up stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like in the email, go for it. We'll read all of them. And also, of course, if you comment and we see that anywhere on YouTube, on Facebook, where we share it or anything, feel free to leave your thoughts and stuff anywhere, but votes will only be accepted through Gmail. And also, real quick, before we forget, at some point, when we get enough ideas, this was suggested by Matt. Matt had an idea where we take like fan idea story suggestions and we kind of put all of them into a hat once we get a bunch, and we draw from them, and then we have to on the fly riff off of each other and stuff with story ideas that we didn't come really prepared with.
But we'll pitch the ideas.
Yeah, we'll still pitch it as if it's our own.
Yeah, we'll each pitch an idea, but we'll say so and so send in this idea.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no. If you have an idea, you can send it into our email, and we can maybe get something like that going.
Yeah, and I want it to be as exact and precise and descriptive, or as broad as you guys want it to be. I listened to a podcast that is called Cool Games Inc., and they kind of do something like this, where they get funny video game suggestions and they make jokes about them, essentially. But like sometimes the suggestions are super specific, and you're like, okay. Or sometimes the suggestions are as broad as Imagine's Dragon's Dragon. Like, so like it can be anything. So you can be like, it's just a guy with like and you can describe this wicked cool sword, and then you don't give us any details about it. Or you can just say it has to be a Western, and it has to be about a guy named Greg, and Greg is like 6 years old, or something like as specific or as broad and whimsical as you guys want it to be.
It doesn't have to be like, sometimes we'll like write out a story, or our last episode Marcus went on and on for more than half
Half
the
the
show
podcast, yeah.
about his entire show. It doesn't have to be that elaborate.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we'll do that for our ideas, but for yours, if it's one sentence or a paragraph or a page, we'll kind of riff off of however it goes.
I think that could be fun because I think like we can collaboratively do that. Like we
Yeah.
can do 2 stories and we can still have you guys vote even. But like I think that'll be more of a less me versus Ian, which I don't think of this as me versus Ian. Ian's talked
I
about.
totally do, dude.
Ian's like says stuff about my story, be like that works way better than the stupid thing I had thought down. So it'd be like if I were to redo it, I would have just wrote what Ian said about this part. So like I still think of it as like collaborative in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, but it'll be more collaborative because like I won't have anything to prepare. So if I just blank and Ian's like just do this, then it'll work better. So
No, this
yeah.
is a totally me versus you podcast, dude. I'm just gonna steal all your
I'm gonna
ideas,
steal all of them, and then
make millions of dollars.
And then we have 0 suggestions or anything like that as of now. So we'll kind of keep you guys posted, and we'll give you guys
That's
like
not true, actually. I don't know if I should admit this, but we do have 2 suggestions from my mother. She
your
sent them
mom
in.
gave us 2. Okay.
Yeah, she
so
gave us
We have
2.
2 suggestions, I guess. But we'll give you guys like a heads up to where if you have an idea and you're too lazy to send it in, but once we kind of get enough to do one episode like that, we'll say send any in extra now because we'll do it next week. Like we'll give you guys a week of heads up time to get any last minute suggestions in, but send them in at any time to the email. We'll save them, read them, and we'll pull them up or whatever when we get to the part of the day where we have to do that.
Yeah. Shout outs real quick to our theme song. Tim Schoenfeld, local artist, comedian, and musician, wrote the song.
Buddy.
And he let us
Footy
use his song Footy Pajamas,
Pajamas.
which is a freaking cool song
Yeah,
for our show because it's a creative song about a creative kid with footy pajamas, and we're creative kids with. I don't know. If
I'm in
Marcus
footy
has
pajamas right now.
Yeah, but they come up with stories.
Waist down
so,
though. Like
yeah.
I have it unzipped because I have to look cool and professional. Whoa, there's a cat.
Whoa,
Dude, that frightened me. Oh, dude, I almost punched your cat so hard.
dude,
Shoot. Okay, no, it's all good.
throw the
Whew.
cat out of there.
Oh wow. Oh boy. Oh boy. That was terrifying. Okay.
Hold on, pause the show real quick.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Sorry about that. Marcus forgot to close the door. And the cat
Wowzers.
got in.
I'm sorry. I had to pee. Sue me.
Yeah. Oh man.
Anyway, just-
actually, I felt the cat earlier, and it kind of freaked me out. But I was just like trying to.
He just,
Like, hold it
Ian
tight.
kept his
Oh, I'm just
composure like I did.
Yeah.
No, I almost murdered Ian's cat on accident just because I got scared. And then just pretend I said a funny thing about wearing footy pajamas or something. 'Cause I don't remember my punchline anymore. Ian,
Yeah,
do you want to go
something
first or
like that.
second this week?
I went first last time. You want to go first? I guess we should be somewhat courteous.
Yeah. Okay. So Ian. So again, as again to my point of being as specific or as broad as you want to be with your ideas and submissions. Let me pull up my notes real quick for this week. I'm pretty sure it's like maybe 2 sentences. And let me pull up. I want to get word for word what I have. A Green Lantern show that's like Doctor Who, but better. That's I'm gonna elaborate a lot on that, but like that's generally what I was going. That's what my idea is gonna be. Think Green Lantern. Do you know anything about Green Lanterns? Do I
Yeah.
need to? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Give me what you know about Green Lanterns, and then I'll fill in anything that I know.
So wait. So how's
I
this?
think that is
like,
important for the
what's this
story.
pitch?
It's gonna be a Green Lantern story.
Okay.
But fill it like what do you know about the Green Lanterns in general, and you can share that with me. And then if there's anything, I think I'm going to use you kind of as a baseline because I'm
Like I
a
mean,
bit
I
more
know
of
a
comic
little
book
bit.
nerd.
I don't know enough. Like
Well,
I haven't read a lot of Green Lantern comics.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So fill in what you know about Green Lanterns, and I'll use that as kind of a baseline to how in depth or how little I have to explain what Green Lanterns are. Because like I could get very in depth, but people will be like, everybody knows this, or I could be very like I could assume everybody knows it, and everybody's like, I don't. So like, what do you know about them?
I mean, he's a guy with a special ring that gives him power. I don't know a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't read a lot of Green Lantern comics.
Okay, so
But somehow his ring gives him power. And isn't he like not like a guardian, but like a guardian of the universe or something?
okay,
Or something like that?
Yeah. So essentially, and again, I don't know a whole ton about Green Lanterns. They're not my favorite I like the idea of Green Lanterns a lot.
Because there's multiple Green Lanterns, correct?
Oh, there's a whole Green Lantern Corps, and we're about to get into that. But for people who don't, Green Lantern has not rebooted in forever, like any of the Green Lantern stories. Like, and every single time that DC is doing reboots and stuff, like Green Lantern always manages to slip through the thing. Essentially, because Jeff Johns has a lot of pull, and he's been writing a lot of them for forever. So he's like, I'm not gonna, just because DC wants to reboot, I'm not gonna start over my story from issue 0. So, Green Lantern has not been rebooted in forever. So that's been a little intimidating to me, so I haven't started reading a lot of that stuff. And there's trades that I do want to read and things, but essentially, from what I know, and also what I know compared to legit comic book nerds, they're gonna think I don't know anything. But think of it like sort of like the Jedi, or like a police, an intergalactic police force, where these guys get these power rings that are just technology that are based off of the willpower of the user to create constructs. So you can, like, I think of like a giant dinosaur, and then you can like use your ring to make a giant dinosaur, like that's made of like green light, and then you can make it do what you want. And stuff.
These are Green Lanterns, like
yeah. So those are green. You get a Green Lantern ring, and you get that, and then there's like battery packs, which is like a big actual like Green Lantern looking thing, and you say like the Green Lantern oath, which is in brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Beware my, let those who practice evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light, maybe. I could be wrong, but anyway, they say that, and then they can charge their ring from the battery thing, and then they kind of go out and do good stuff for the most part. Like there are stories about like defects who kind of go rogue or corrupt Green Lantern.
So is this going to be like revolved around like a specific core team, like of a couple people or one person, or is it going to be the whole society of?
Yes and no. I want like the whole of society to exist, but I want it to be very focused on like kind of a group of people. And there are famous Green Lanterns. There's Kilowog. There are human Green Lanterns. Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, Jon Stewart, Simon Bass, Jessica Cruz, maybe? I don't remember. There's a bunch of Green Lanterns and stuff. And I want this to kind of be in its own universe, so like it's not tied, like it's based off of the comics and it's drawing inspiration from the comics, but not directly continuity wise, because I'm going to kind of play fast and loose with it. And I know that my favorite Green Lantern is, Jon Stewart from the Justice League TV show, and I know that they took a lot of liberties with his character in that show compared to the comics, so I'm going to use that template of Jon Stewart, and he's going to be the main character. And there's already a show kind of like this, like a cartoon one, which is what I'm pitching, but I thought it sucked, personally. I didn't like it. So I'm kind of saying, like, if I could do roughly what they did, but better, and kind of like, again, I said like Doctor Who, but better. I like Doctor Who. I think has a lot of neat ideas. I think Doctor Who suffers from probably what I would suffer from if I was a writer, and I think I would have a very cool idea that I would just really botch the delivery on. I think that's what Doctor Who does a lot. They have a lot of really cool concepts in there that they rush into an hour, or they end up changing at the last second or something to kind of just botch the ending too. But I want it to feel like that. So kind of the setup for the show is going to be Jon Stewart, and there's I forgot his name. There's a Green Lantern who's like a squirrel, essentially.
Okay.
I'm going to have him. And then I figure they have to go into like deep outreaches of space, like we've never been here before. They get assigned that sector, because if you don't know, there are like different sectors, and there's like I just thought of another Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, another Green Lantern, but they get sectors, and it's like kind of like that's like where they patrol and where they're kind of in charge of making sure that evil doesn't take place. And so they go, because like the universe is always expanding, right? So they go out to somewhere that's like they find new civilizations and stuff, and nobody has a sector, and they send both of them out there to kind of investigate it, and we get a very fun episode to episode kind of Doctor Who feel, where it's this I forgot this squirrel character and Jon Stewart kind of visiting these planets and getting a feel of their new sector of where they are, because and I want it to be like just as new for them as it is for us. So I want these planets to be very weird and diverse and crazy, to where like maybe there's like a planet that everything is like reflective and like it's all crystally, and think like, have you seen Ben 10? Think like a diamond head planet or something kind of like that, or like craziness, like this is like a desert planet that like is inverted to where like you are outside of it, it's like a desert, but you can go inside and gravity shifts, so you're walking like, here's the world and you're here walking around, and it's like a rainforest, just like crazy, ridiculous, weird kind of things that all have this different power. And again, I'm not super in depth this week, but so you go to these planets and you can have episodes, and maybe there's like this planet's at war with this planet and they have to solve that, and there's gonna be like little problems like Doctor Who that are on each planet that they solve. So it's kind of like each episode, I mean, half-an-hour episode, like kind of
like a cartoon or something.
Yeah, like it's gonna be a cartoon.
Is it, okay.
In my head, and it's think like Batman the Animated Series, or like Justice League, or like Avengers or Mightiest Heroes or Young Justice, to where it is a show, or Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
It is a show that kids can clearly enjoy, but like
it also has like
it treats them, it treats them like they're smart, and there's character development, and there's cool concepts, to where if you watch it as a grown-up, you're not going to be like, oh, like I'm watching like this show with my kids.
So
like,
it's not going to feel like a kid's show.
An all-age family, like an all-age kind of show, to where like on the surface you can be like, oh, I see that, but if you stop being like cynical and you're looking for like more thought-out, complex kind of things, like you can see that too, which I think is very hard to do, but I think shows like the ones I named do that very brilliantly, to where grown-ups can brilliantly, there we go, I can't speak, do that very well. So they go to these planets. It's going to be half-an-hour episode. So each planet you kind of get, or each episode you get a new planet, a new whole set of rules, and we can like experiment with gravity and all kinds of cool, fun, weird things, to where they go to each of these planets, they experience weird, cool things, and you can like mess with the pantheon and kind of DC universe, or you can have like Thanagarians who are like in certain continuities, are like Hawkgirl and Hawkman, like the bird people, they're like that, or you can have Martians like Martian Manhunter and stuff like. You can have kind of these well-known aliens and stuff in the DC universe show up here and there, and you can have them kind of experiment with that. And I want like, I don't know exactly how I want this to work, but I want there to be like an ever-growing threat that he doesn't know about, or they don't know about yet, that's kind of always returning, much like since I'm relating it a lot to Doctor Who, the first season with Matt Smith, I don't remember, I think it's season 5, there's a crack in space and time that he closes, and then it shows up again, and it shows up in a bunch of episodes, and he's like, I don't know what this is or what to do, and you don't find out till like the last episode. But I don't want it to be like a crack in space and time, but like I want there to be an ever-growing threat or arc that kind of like ties everything together, and if you watch every episode very carefully, like, and eventually it can become more televised, to where like, oh, like clearly like there's the glowing eyes in the dark cave, kind of like bad guy moment coming.
Like there's references.
Yeah, but like I wanted to start so slowly at first, where like maybe only the grown-ups watching do get it, like that's
and maybe
weird.
Like you have to watch it a second time.
That's weird. Or like I like Young Justice season 2 does this very well, where they talk about a lot of things and stuff like this, and there's like this big reveal wrap-up thing, and I was like, cool, and then they talk about stuff like it was in previous episodes. I was like, was it? And I watched back, and it was. So like, in theory, if I paid more attention, I could have kind of called the ending, but it was so subtle, it was well handled, and it was there, and I kind of want it to be like that. It's subtle at first and kind of builds and builds and builds, and maybe you do go back and watch it a second time and say, oh, like I get that now. Okay. Oh, this was foreshadowing of this, but like I would have had no way of knowing. And like again, that's my idea. I don't have specifics on each of these planets or what the ongoing looming threat is, but that's my whole show idea. I think it's fun, and again, it's a lot like a show that already exists called Green Lantern the Animated Series, I think. But I want it to be good. I think that show sucks.
Yeah, I haven't seen that show specifically, but I don't know. I kind of like it. I think it'd be an interesting concept. Kind of pulling from different shows like that.
For sure. Oh, and then like another thing I wanted to be cool was have repeat characters to where like you may visit a planet more than once, or he may have to do something like that. But like if you meet a character on the planet and you learn their name and their main character for that episode, I wanted to have longevity to if you watch season upon season of this, you see characters that like might not come back for 2 seasons, and then they come back and you get payoff for watching that first season and seeing them the first time and learning their name and stuff. And I want there to be like references to history to where the show that I think does this the best is I almost said Avatar, but it's not. It's Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, okay.
If you learn the name of somebody in Full Metal Alchemist, you better believe that they're going to be back more than one episode, and that they're very cool, and there's more development on a lot of those characters than like anybody in like Arrow or I make fun of Arrow a lot. Arrow's
It's because
fine.
Arrow sucks. No, it was good the first 2 seasons. After that, it went downhill.
yeah, but like we're like there's a lot of really good developed characters that you would think are only side characters, and then come back and they end up mattering so much to the story, and you haven't seen them in 36 episodes. And you're like, shoot, what do I remember about this guy? But like everything you learned about them back then is still relevant and important to now. And I want to be very much like in real life. If I met you, Ian, and let's say I didn't see you in years, it's not like all the stuff that we talked about and how we were friends before didn't matter. It didn't have weight or gravity, even though we didn't see each other for years. And finally, like that, everything still has gravity. Everything holds weight and carries over to new episodes where you might see these people again.
Okay.
That's all I got. Do you have questions?
I don't really have any questions. Not gonna lie. But that's mostly because I haven't seen the Green Lantern animated series. So I apologize for that.
No, it's fine.
I think I already asked you about the character base. Like it's going to be focused on like a team of characters.
It's going to be
correct?
focused
Not like an individual or
a
anything,
lot
right?
like. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're good.
A lot like good episodes of Doctor Who, to where, so there's obviously the Doctor, and there's the Doctor's companion, whoever that Rose, Martha, Rhonda, maybe I don't remember. Shoot,
I don't remember. Not gonna
Amy.
lie.
Anyway, any of these characters, like, so there's always the Doctor, there's always the companion, but then like I think the good episodes of Doctor Who, when they go to that new planet or that new point in time, there's trying to think like characters that you meet that kind of become protagonists or main characters for that episode.
Okay. Yeah.
And I want to be like that too. Like there's always Jon Stewart, there's always the Squirrel Green Lantern, but like for however many episodes you spend on this one planet or this one episode during this planet, there's this other cast of characters that you meet that are also important, and will also kind of go through the whole episode with John and with the squirrel.
Okay.
I forgot the squirrel's name, but.
Yeah, I like the idea of that.
And that way, like, you're constantly getting new characters. But again, all of them have weight. If you learn their name, they could come back at any point, and you need to know everything, and everything matters. I want everything to matter so much. Like, when you talk about all these Batman books for DC Comics and stuff, like, this Batman book contradicts that Batman book, and this one does that, and, like, it doesn't work, and then people feel like oh, like this book I'm reading, because it's not as popular, doesn't matter as much. But I don't want it to feel like that. Like every character you meet, every interaction that they have with this new environment, with these different planets that they're going to, matters. If he accidentally puts his foot in his mouth on one episode and that gets back, it might take a whole 3 episodes to build, but eventually 2 planets are at war because this intergalactic space cop with this crazy powerful ring put his foot in his mouth and like accidentally messed up the kind of economic system of one planet that like now a war is at planet, and this little thing he said at this episode kind of escalated and matters to the point of this new kind of civilization getting built up.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's all I got. If you don't have questions, then it's your well, we need to commercial it.
Yeah, no, I like the idea. I don't have any questions though. I guess should we go to a commercial break?
Yeah.
All right. So this
share the
episode-
podcast.
Share the podcast. This episode is brought to you by this candle. This is from our very first episode, the lost episode, as well as episode 1.8. We were recording at some kind of coffee shop. They had just had a concert. Some little kid each gave us one of these. Marcus lost his, but I did not lose mine
Yeah, I lost
because
it. Like,
it's freaking awesome.
I probably almost. I
It shuts on and off.
for
It's-
sure
it's
put
an
it in my
electric-
pocket.
It's an electric little candle thing. So
I lost it.
our show is brought to you by this. I don't know how that's relevant, but anyway, that's
Oh, and let us know what you guys think of our set. Like, let us know if you think there's more interesting, cool things we could do with our environment and space.
yeah.
And we might
Shoot
do
out
it.
ideas.
Yeah, like, I guess what I'm saying is be as vocal about every aspect of the podcast, whether you like our set, whether you think I need to get stage makeup or lighting or anything. Like, anything that we can do that you think would work practically and make this...
Yeah, let us
It has
know
to-
if I need to get a new co-host. I mean, if Marcus isn't making
No,
the cut.
I'm not leaving this. This is my idea, Ian.
That's true.
You're the co-host.
That's true. It was your idea. But yeah, no,
I
because this
enjoyed the
podcast
show.
is about you guys, though. I mean, as viewers, just like we said, send in ideas, whether they're for stories and pitches or
Yeah, be
whether
vocal. Sorry.
they're for the set or whatever. So yeah,
Be vocal about every aspect of the podcast. Like,
yeah.
whether it's...
Even if it's a quality issue, I mean,
Yeah,
we
well,
can
like-
get better microphones,
Yeah,
eventually.
and it might take time because, yeah, we both have lives and are saving for things. I'm about to get married. Ian's looking to move out of his house eventually and stuff. His parents' house, sorry. So
Way to make me sound like a super nerd.
I live in my parents' house too. That's fine.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, we're looking to do these things in our life. So we don't make money from the podcast. So eventually, if you're like, the camera quality sucks, or
Hey, what's up, everybody? So
we ran out of memory on the
yeah,
the camera.
yep. So Marcus, are you done with your pitch?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So my idea is pretty short. It's actually based on a dream that I had. No joke. I'm debating whether I should actually tell you guys the dream. I have it all written down here, but I'll shorten it to just the arc of the story. So basically, it's kind of like I hate to say this because it kind of sounds like a copy of what Marcus's last story was, but not really. It's kind of a government conspiracy type of thing or whatever.
Well, mine was just
but just
real
to
life.
just to be fair, I dreamed it on. I have it written down 7/9/17, and then I wrote it down. So I'm not ripping off of Marcus's
Oh
idea
wow,
last
Ian! Like
last
almost
episode.
a week ago. How about a week ago? Not copyright. We're on YouTube. Frick.
Dang it. Okay, so basically, it's being kind of in an alternative universe. But so the basic gist of this story is how like society is getting like we live in a pretty decent society. We have for a while. People are healthy. Medicine is good and all that, but in society things are getting worse and worse, and so what happens is the government starts taking control of medicine practices and pharmaceuticals and doctors, and they start forcing them to prescribe certain medicines that aren't necessarily going to make a patient better. It might make them better of that illness, but it might cause a different illness, something that's more subtle. And so the whole idea is to make society sick to the point where they can control them the way they want, and they can charge them money for these drugs, and they can sort of manipulate them. So, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of a story arc except for this main idea. But the idea is this sickening society, and then somehow, of course, like every show like this, there's going to be some kind of immunity. Like there's going to be someone who's immune to this disease that's
Divergent, even.
and then so they try to stop the government, try to warn people, educate people about what's going on. And the whole premise of the show is they're educating people that it's like, hey, so this all these doctors that you thought you trusted are giving you this medicine. It's making you sick and even sicker to the point of death. And, some people listen, some people don't.
Ian, why are you just talking about real life like it's fake?
It gets to the point where they start actually like kind of like trying to decide if this is a good way to explain it. In Nazi Germany, how I'm sorry, I don't know why that makes me laugh saying that.
Those Nazis and their great pranks, Ian.
So in Nazi Germany, you know how like not only did they slaughter Jews, but they also like slaughtered mentally handicapped people and sick people that weren't healthy, that weren't fit for society. It'd be like that, but in reverse. So you'd have a healthy person that the government deliberately would make sick. So like in this dream that I had, there was this healthy person, and for some reason we were supposed to protect them, and the government was trying to kill them because they were like one of the last healthy people. And so what we had to do was we had to amputate their legs so that they would quote unquote be sick or unfit for society. And so that's kind of the gist of the story. Trying to think if I have any other points. No, that's pretty much all I got. Do you have any questions?
Just a second. Yeah, okay. How'd you sleep that night, Ian? Was it good? Did you get good rest?
Yeah.
8 hours?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I woke up and I remembered it. I immediately grabbed my phone and wrote it down.
Cool, that was actually my first question I had written down. So are people like this sickness? I'm bleeding. Whoops. Is this sickness gonna like affect them and put them in like more of a compliant state?
Kind of. Like it affects them in the point where like they would die if they don't get special drugs being sold by these big corporations, and so they have to buy these drugs.
Cool.
Type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. And then you talked about how there's this group of people teaching them about what the drugs are doing to them.
There's that,
so it's an educational. Is it? You're making 2017's Just Say No.
What?
In the 80s, there's a drug campaign that was just
Say No
to drugs.
So
that's what your show is? Is just that
kind
for
of
2017? Say no to drugs, kids.
Yeah, don't not do drugs.
So is the story? Are you thinking like is it going to be more of an action-packed thing where there's like a rebellion that starts up against the government to overthrow them, or more of like a meeting of the minds, strategic, thought-out type thing?
A little bit more of the latter. A little bit more dramatic. Like there will be fighting and stuff, but
and punches and kicks.
But a lot of it's done like kind of behind the scenes and subtly. So there's not a lot like that. There's a lot of it that's more kind of dramatic and like it's drawn out over a long period of time of everything happening, if that kind of makes sense.
That's all I have. Question one.
Yeah. Oh, I also want to throw out that Stan Lee was in the stream at one point. I don't know why I felt the need to say that, but he was some kind of government officer. So
he's a bad guy.
I don't know
about your opinions on Stan Lee.
Well, all I have to say is maybe this idea is the new Marvel idea, and Stan Lee's in every Marvel.
Oh, we're gonna pitch Marvel 2. It's the sequel to Marvel.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have.
Yeah, I mean, like, I dig it. I could get behind a story like that. I feel like I've seen a story like that. I don't remember where or what it was, though.
So, anyway, that's all I have. It's a pretty short idea.
Yeah, again, I talked frickin' double the time Ian did.
Well, and you said yours was pretty short, too. But
yeah,
that's okay. You probably have more time on your hands, though, to actually write it out.
It's my strategy for winning.
Yeah.
Also, my job, like, do you feel like mentally like you have to be there and focused for your job, Ian?
Sometimes.
I freaking vacuum floors, dog. Like, my night job, it's just always going.
Yeah.
So, like, thinking of stories is not my problem.
No, I know what you mean. I used to have that same job, and it's like...
And you never worked with me because you hated me.
No, I didn't. Well, a
he
couple
hated me.
times.
He said, "I hate you.
I did. I hate you much.
Can you die, please?" And I said, "Ian, that's oddly, weirdly aggressive."
Yeah, but I know what you mean. When I worked that same job, I had tons of ideas all the time.
Shoot. Okay. Well.
So that's all I have.
Yeah. So don't forget to vote.
Make sure you
Email
vote for
us.
me.
The one rule. Remember, the one rule is vote for the not co-host,
Yeah.
which is me. I'm the host.
Or just always vote for me and then you're safe. I don't know how that made sense.
Who's me?
Always
No,
vote for
Marcus and
Ian. Vote for Ian.
No, Ian, why are you talking about yourself in the third person? What the heck is wrong with you? We have, so yeah, it's letmepitchthistoyou at gmail.com. It's all lowercase. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at AfroThunda.
You can follow me on Instagram at Ian N. Lund.
Like us on Facebook.
Yep. Let
And
me
if-
pitch this to you on Facebook. That's the name.
Yeah.
So
If you have story ideas, don't forget to send those in. Another thank you to Matt Schoenfeld.
what? Tim Schoenfeld.
Tim, I
for the
definitely
theme
said
song.
Matt. Whoops. I'm used to talking about Matt Sampson on the podcast. My bad.
Yeah.
Whoopsies. Big shout out. Thank you so much. Even though I can't remember your name, apparently. Yeah, and come back
Yeah.
next week.
Make sure you send in your ideas. Cool. Should we close it out?
Let's end it right.
All right. We got this.
Oh,
dang it.
what's up? Yes. We'll be back next week.
Peace out.
Thanks to Booty Pajama.